In comparison to the previous step where we created the main body via T-splines and sculpted it, I will show you now how we can create this body via a traditional sketch and surfacing modeling approach. And that then basically gives you a good understanding of the advantage and disadvantage of each method. Okay, so here's our basic file. It's the raw model. The first thing we want to do is create a sketch that goes along this parting line. So we will go to construct offset from this ground plane, move this construction plane up till it roughly lines up with that crease. That's kind of like where the parting line would be. Very good. Then let's create their sketch. First thing to do is, before I continue, I set my environment to gray instead of photo booth. So it's a little bit easier on the eyes, and it actually will color the sketch differently, so it's easier to read. So the first thing we can do is draw the horizontal lines. So we go to the line tool, click and click, click and click. Make sure actually that the horizontal constraint is present. In case it is not, just add it. Then with the horizontal constraint turned on, we will lock actually those points. So they are actually now the same. I press escape to stop the adding constraint command, and then I can go ahead and move these points to roughly where I need them. Here I can move this one up. See, that's the only thing now we need to specify. This has to be left and right precise. There are two ways to do this. We can select this, and add a dimension. Let's say 21. And then we do the same. 21. Or we can draw a line horizontally. This line I press X because it's a mirroring line. And then I go to symmetry and say this point, symmetrical to this line. And you see now they are symmetrical. So the symmetry is like a mirror function. But the problem is, you see, I can move these around and drag them. So that's not good. I want to constrain the sketch, which is why I will simply use the dimension control here. Copy this value so it's the same also here. Let's make this 118. Very good. And I will center midpoint this line onto there. So to do this, first we will create a point onto the midpoint here on this line via the point command, and then go to horizontal, select this point horizontally aligned to there. Nice. So the reason why I did this is I have actually now kind of like this line perfectly centered on my sketch, and I hope also that for the 3D model that's actually centered too. We might have to later move this model to the left a little bit, maybe. So let's go back to the sketch. How do we continue? We have two rounded corners and a slightly arced front. Same in the back. So maybe let's start with the corners. We can create an arc from there maybe to there, and then drag it out. You see that's a tangent. Let's do the same there. There it's tangent. And then when I change this line and drag it, I can specify how it actually fits my mesh. So this looks pretty good. When I press D now, I can give this a dimension. Let's say 11.2. We do the same here, 11.2. Very nice. Good. This can still move a little bit. Same there. So I want now to put in another arc. Go to the shortcuts in case you used that already and call the 3-point arc, or go to there, click, and then just I try to get close. And before I continue, I press escape. There's my arc, and you see here's the arc midpoint. This midpoint I can move up and down. You see what happens? And I want actually this to be locked to the horizontal alignment to the sketch. So click the horizontal constraint, click, press escape, done. Now these points I can still selectively move, which is not good. To prevent this, what I will do now is I will go to horizontal and say this point and this point be vertically aligned, which means you see what happens. There, they move in tandem. And now if I move actually this, I can adjust the arc. But the transition is pretty bad. I want to have a nice, at least G1 transition. So we will do this with the tangent constraint. There to there, and then there to there. No, it doesn't do this. 1 second. I might actually have to delete those. Still doesn't do it. Hold on. There. Okay, now we did it. So now we can actually drag this inwards and give this a value. Let's say here 74. What about 76? Okay, very good. So 2 arcs and another arc. Let's do the same. I can move this one inwards a little bit so it doesn't distract me. Press S, select my 3-point arc, click, and then drag it out. Click again when I see this command popping up. Press D, go up, select this value, press enter, press D, add the dimension, select this one, press enter. Now comes the next arc. Then we want to dimension this, constrain this, and see this way, because the arc is tangent to these 2 arcs. These points are also how could I say that, above each other, and I don't need to horizontally constrain this. And then I can give this a dimension and copy this one over. So before I gave a horizontal dimension to, horizontal constraint to this point, to the sketch point. Now you say, well, why did you remove it afterwards? You will see these constraints work with each other and sometimes work against each other. I put this one in at the beginning so that the arc doesn't move up and down, but after having these arcs created, dimensioned, and then this arc created and G1, so tangentially constrained, there was no need to have this horizontally constrained anymore. So we will see the more you create geometry and sketches, you will start understanding the different steps, how you can manipulate a sketch. Everything I show is just one way. Obviously, there are different combinations of how you could use these tools to get the same result. Okay, so this is pretty good. Also, the end actually that matches nearly quite well. Very good. So the next step, I would like to create a small arc here, so I can create a surface that runs across the side on the top. So outside the sketch, create a new sketch. We want to click on this vertical plane. Then we go to sketch and intersect, select this point, click OK. And there now we create another arc. From there to roughly there, and just try to rotate it like this. Okay, good. So this is kind of like the height. Very good. There's a little gap, that's fine. This is a scan data, that's also not laser scan quality. So this is all good. Click stop. Before we continue. So this is actually top profile. And then this is, for example, the side sweep. So this curve we will now sweep along the sketch we created. Let's go to patch, sweep. This is our element and this is our path. Have chain select turned on, click OK. And we are done. There you see it created the surface running next to it. Now the next step we would like to do is create actually the horizontal surface on top and at the side. So I will create another sketch. Click this time that sketch. Before I continue, we will go to project include, intersect, and intersect my sketch plane with these two surfaces. Click OK. Inside this, you see now it created the shape of these two surfaces. That's perfect. And then we can press S, go to the arc command, and here we create a small arc. And whoa, that was actually pretty close. It should pretty well run over the scanned body. Press escape. Give this a dimension, so it looks like 115 in my case. So that's for the top. Now we also need the same thing on the bottom. That's actually not an arc, so here we have to use a spline. Go to spline, click there, click there, click there. This point has to be vertically under the sketch center, so horizontally constrain U to U. The splines should flow G2, so smooth or curvature into those arcs. So select curvature and there, and then we do the same here. Very good. We go to the right view, press escape. This point now we can drag up. And you see that the spline here is not running across here, and it's turning way too quickly. I want this to go further down and then arc over. So to do this, click one side of a sketch. You see there is this green dot, and just drag it down a little bit. And then we do the same on the other side. Okay. Now to make these two sides the same, we can select this point and this handle point and then say be horizontally aligned. And when I drag one, you see the other one moves with it. And then we adjust this till it seems to fit, like in this case. Very good. Awesome. Now, we have to create the surfaces. Go to Extrude, and we select this and this profile, both at the same, not the thing in the center. And then extrude this out to the right till it seems to, till the surface starts to arc. We can do the same on the other side. With symmetry, we might actually hit that point. Yeah, it's pretty symmetrical. Okay, good. Very nice. Good. Then let's hide the sketch. Let's take a look at what we have. Let's call this one center profile, maybe actually body. Whoops. Body, because these are all the sketches that actually define the body. Very nice. Then we can hide this for a moment. Very good. And I would like to fill these. I have to figure out what are good ways to do this. Before we continue, we want to stitch everything together via the stitch command. Click OK. There's one object. It's still an open surface because we can see through it. But because this is stitched, it's actually very easy to select this open face. Let me try something out. So enable chaining. Yeah, you see when we do it this way, we can select all this and there, but we can't select this one because the software does not allow us to only select this little part and then go over to there, which is why we have to stitch this together, because now this is actually a logical element. You see, only selected this small part, and then we can select chaining. Very nice. Okay, so group edges. In this case, we do not want to select. Let me go to here for a moment. So edge 1, 6, 5, 4, and 3, they can remain continuity, positional, so G0, but edge 2, that one I would like to be rather smooth. So I click G2 for edge 2, maybe 0.5, 6. See, I'm pushing this over a little bit. 5. Okay, good. So when I rotate now, there you can see there's surface 1, there's surface 2. So let's do the same on the other side, and I will keep this at G0. So you see the difference. You see there's actually a noticeable crease. And that crease I don't want. So along this edge, the surface has to be adjusted so it flows into the surface. I do right click, edit feature. In this case, now it's edge 6, G2, and also here say 5. Good. This is an artifact here, the shading, so ignore it. How do we cap the bottom? In a similar way, let's select all those, and then we click group edge and say G2. Because to this edge it should be G2, and also along these upper edges this should be G2. And I will explain in a second also why. Maybe, what about 6? Here we can maybe turn on the scan data, turn wireframe on so we can see how we are doing. This is actually too much. Oh, this is, let's say here 5, that's good. We're a little bit off there. That's fine. And then we do the same here. G2 and 5. Yeah. So why also G2 for these upper edges? The main reason for that is when we created this as an arc and then we created these or this spline, the ends of these splines run into those arcs via a G2 constraint. So when the arc is G2, the surface we create from it, so meaning this surface to this surface already has a G2 quality. So then we can create this surface running on all these neighbor edges via G2. Okay, perfect. Let's go to shade it. Let's take a look at what we have. We can, we don't need to stitch everything yet because we have to do a little bit more trim work. So you see that was actually not too complicated. Let's do a quick overlay. Yeah, we're pretty close. This is a tick longer here. This dips down a little bit. So maybe we'll go actually and say 6. Yeah, I think this feels better. .6. Yeah. This feels smoother now. Before it felt like where my mouse is right now, the surface there got a little bit flatter. Very nice. Good highlights on the body. The next step is cutting in the opening for the dial and also here for the bottom part. So to do this, make another sketch. From here, go straight up. This is fine. And then let's create a new sketch. We can call this one dial opening. Now I will show a different way how to do this. These edges are slightly arced, by the way. So similar to the way how we created the Roku, sorry, the Apple TV, no, yeah, the Roku base, we will do this one as well. So with the spline tool, click, 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 and then close it. So always a midpoint and a corner point. Now we want all this also lined up. So line to line and point to point, point to point, point to point. Then we have to bring a little bit of order into this. First, this point we can make horizontally aligned. Whoops. Let's see if we can bring this over. Yep. Then midpoint, midpoint to midpoint, midpoint to midpoint, midpoint to midpoint. Now they're all centered. Horizontally constrained to this. This one is vertically constrained. Then a perpendicular constraint between these two diagonals. And then D and say horizontal and diagonal 45 degrees. Equal sign to these two and equal these two diagonals. Press escape. Now we can move this over to this corner, and that looks actually pretty spot on. There, yeah, okay, very good. This looks nice. Stop sketch. Then let's see, where is, there's that surface. I did not actually stitch all these others together because I have to cut this open and then remove a surface, etc. So instead of having all these unstitch, delete, stitch back commands, I do this now. And I will show you another way how to cut that opening. So we can go to trim and say this, please trim this open. Via the trim command, you see actually that it cuts the space open. Now this opening down here is actually a little bit more to the left. I make both exactly at the same position, simply for the fact that maybe it saves us one little step of work. Otherwise you would have to recreate this one on the bottom. Well, actually, let's do this. This opening's too big. So undo everything, trim this one, and then we cut only the top area out. Very good. So we could then dial opening, then we say another construction plane simply goes down till there. Then we make a sketch on that plane, and we can call this one finger opening. Can hide this one, hide this, show this. No, we do exactly the same again. It's maybe not a bad idea to redo it. It simply gives you the practice of repeating these steps. That helps really learning them and memorizing them. That's really key in 3D modeling, muscle memory. Okay, then horizontally aligned. This is vertically. This we line up. These two we set perpendicular, midpoint, 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 D, and say U and U. 45, and then the equal stuff. Okay, and I would say we're pretty good. Very nice. Okay, so here now we can do the same step via the trim command. Before I continue with the trim, what's the difference between trim and split? Well, trim really, cuts actually this open and removes the face. Now the split command selects the surface, and then we split the surface, but it's still stitched together. And now I would have to go to unstitch, select this one there, and then this surface we select and remove. So 3 commands. Way too much for the same task. Here we can just open it. The split command, however, is really good if we want to add a different material to a certain area. And here we only want to cut this open, so we use the trim command. Very good. Now we want to put in the missing faces. I will show you now a different way how to do this. Another sketch to the side profile we can create, and go to S and intersect this face and this lower face. And you see there at the start and end, left and right. And we fill the rest with an arc. Bring this one up, maybe till there, and the same here. Maybe like this, I would say. Okay. And when we then go to the patch command, we select this opening. Then go interior rails point, and we select this arc we created. And you will see that actually then the surface is being pushed along that arc. Let's do this one more time here. Right click, repeat patch, select interior rail, and there. Now we can stitch everything together. So stitch all this together. Very good. And we can call this one opening interior profile. And we don't need to see it anymore. Very nice. Next step, let's create this button on the side. Another construction plane to roughly there. Make a new sketch here, and then we create a rectangle. Whoops. Roughly there. Plus minus. And add also a line. So I press the L command from the midpoint down to the midpoint. Press escape. Then select the line. Go to construction or press X. And we'll explain this in a second, why we did this. Then, in this case, now we switch back to model, because we have now a solid device or body. We extrude this one in via join. And then we quickly fillet those edges, maybe by 2.5. Yep. So why did I create this line? If we take a look at the control, you can see this is flat, and then this is slightly arced, and also here later this is arced. So there's a little bit of extra shaving we have to do. And I created this because from here to there and from there to there I would like to have a symmetrical transition. So we will create a plane at an angle first along this line, 90 degrees in my case, so it's perpendicular to that surface. Then I will create an offset from here to there, -11, and right click, repeat offset from there to there, 11. So they're symmetrical left and right. Very good. So the fun begins. What I want to do now is I want to create a sketch on here that actually intersects this profile. So let's do this. For a moment, just pause and see what I'm doing, because I have to restructure this in a second. And if I say, well, bring this in, you see I get actually part of this button, but I want this whole arc actually come over. So instead of the intersect, I could project this straight edge and this part, but I'm getting way too much projected in, so that's not good. So I want to actually on this plane create the sketch and intersect it before the button is created. I can do this. So here's my sketch, here's my extrusion and the fillets, and I select these two and drag them now to there, and then I go back. Then if I edit the sketch, you see in time I'm before the buttons are created. Now if I say intersect, I can intersect this Perfect. You see? So that I have to offset by 1 millimeter. Let's go offset hue and hue together. Actually, not a millimeter, half a millimeter in my case. Yeah, okay. Then I do another offset, chain select. I have to hold the command key on the Apple or Control PC in my case to select both. Here I say 10, and then I draw a line and I draw a line to close that shape. Very good. Okay, so I create now a sketch on this plane. I can do the same with the intersect here and here. Okay, then I offset, press O, this line and this line, 1 millimeter, that's fine. I do another offset here and here by 10. Then I connect these lines via the L command. Give me a second. So L, U to U, and U to U. This plane is a little bit in overview right now. Very good. And this shape I have to get over to this plane. So I will create a sketch on that plane. So create sketch there. And I press P to project. And project all this over. I don't have to recreate this by hand because that's already done by me in the opposite sketch. And there we are. So take a look at what happens now. At this point I will move my time marker to the end because I have the button now and I have all the sketches needed to loft the cut. If I loft from here to there to there, one would think it then actually creates a nice arced surface, but that's actually not the way how this one is built. It has a small crease at the center, which means I have to use loft from 1, 2, right click and repeat, and loft 1, 2. Okay. And there you see now I actually get this center line as a crease, which I can now fill it. Maybe we are 5, 15, there. Very nice. So when your finger's on it, because this is deeper, you can feel the center, and those are higher, then you know where each corner is. The rest of the corners or edges I don't fill it yet. I will do this later. So how do we continue? Let's try to save some steps, which means we will create all these normal buttons, shave them, and then we will do the dial. So we can create the sketch for all, but actually the modeling steps are created differently in different steps. So another construction plane. Move this one up, maybe to there. I will not give those sketches a name right now, so we can actually move forward. Let's call these buttons. And let's hide all those for the moment. Here, this one we can actually call side button. So we now with a rectangle or R. Here we can draw this, and this. Here we have a center one. There we have one. Here we have one. And then center rectangle to there, snap to this point, to there, then equal this and this is equal, those and those are equal. Then we want horizontally aligned this one to the center of the sketch. Then this and this, horizontally aligned, vertically aligned, vertically aligned, vertically aligned, and U. Press escape, and then this one we can move up a little bit. There. Trim this a tick. Very good. Well, actually the same. They're properly the same. So we could say equal U to, whoa, what happened here? Equal U to U and U to U. Okay. And then this is properly equal to that one. Okay. So you can see that once the spinning ball is gone, these buttons are all pretty much in relationship. Okay, very nice. Good. No, there's one equal actually missing. Equal this one to that one. There. Press escape. Yeah, you see how that adjusts the other one. Very good. So that's done. Now we click Stop Sketch, and we can in passes extrude everything. So extrude 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into our body. Join. Very good. Then we extrude 1, 2 into our body and join. Then we can actually mirror the other parts over. We can actually do this here if we go back in time based on how you want to structure it. Mirror, feature, so this feature, mirror along this plane. Okay, go back to there. Very good. Now actually we will create that shape to cut across the top. So I will where's the center? Does any button intersect the center? No. Okay, we don't necessarily need to make a construction plane. I can simply create a new sketch on this plane. Press S, intersect this profile, press O to offset this properly 1 millimeters or 2. Let's see. Yeah, 1 millimeter is good. Press O, this one 10. So I'm overbuilding. That's actually the technical term. I make stuff bigger than needed, so I have plenty of material to shave. And then do an extrusion this way. And here, instead of, I could use symmetry or just use two-sided. With two-sided, I can bring this over only as needed. There. Very good. See, that made actually this whole step a tick easier. Now we can create the button for the dial. I have somewhere here some sketches. This is for the profile. Question is, do I want to put it into one of these sketches? Let's see. Yep, maybe here. So edit sketch. I will simply then there just put a line. Oh, delete this one, a line that gives me that angle I need. Okay, very good. It's kind of funny there problem happened. Edit feature. Huh? What do you say? The sketch is missing. Oh, I must have by accident deleted the line there. How did that happen? Okay, good. That's not ideal that this happened, but that's fine. So and there. So that sketch, go edit. Looks to me here Fusion had a pretty big hiccup. So I just have to recreate this. That's fine, this happened. So you will see how I'm actually fixing this. Huh, interesting. I have to intersect with that whole body. Good. I'm not sure if this will happen on your case. Okay, so now I can go ahead and say offset, not chain select, but this line and this line by 0.5. Right click, repeat offset this line and this line by 10. And then I patch in the missing lines there. Okay. Now let's see what happens. Okay, here and there. Edit feature. So there I reassign actually that profile, and then everything is repaired. This one now has an issue. Edit feature. Oh, it's actually the center line that got the fillet there. Good. Again, that's the beauty of parametric modeling. You see when something breaks, all you need to do is just see where it was and then fix it. Awesome. So now we can go back to the other buttons. And where is this one here? So I can make a plane at an angle there, 0 degrees, very good. Go to a top view, mesh body, hide this one and hide this one. Wait, this is the sketch we're working in, and circle to there. Very nice. Then we simply extrude this one inwards and extrude this down, join. Now we have to create the shaving, or basically the revolve, to cut this element. So we will create another sketch on the side, and the reason why I now create a sketch is I have this center point. This center point I would like to project. So press P, into my sketch, because with that I have the midpoint. You see? So from there now I can draw a line down, a line to the left as a horizontal helper. From here I will create an arc. There to there, make this tangent. Oh, I'm getting really good at guessing these angles. Line up. There and there. Let's see. Yep. Very good. Then we revolve everything. And cut it. Let's show our mesh model. We're really close. And then we have to add the missing other element to create that sketch better, or that element. We go inspect, center, analysis, show origin, show this, click OK. See my body 67 is hidden. I only see the mesh. Then I go here, right click, edit sketch. And now this makes it a lot easier to create that sketch. Horizontal line again. Then an arc. Till, let's say, it seems to be there. This is tangent now. And then from there to there. And make this arc tangent to that arc. It's a little bit bigger. That's fine. Good. Show this. So we flip it, revolve, select this small section around there and join. So it's fused to it. And to turn off section analysis, we can turn this one off. These can also be deleted when we don't need them anymore. Let's, for example, dial detail or dial center detail. And what do we have here? Ring button. What do we have there? Button trim. Actually, button top trim maybe makes more sense. Good. This is all really nice. Then the next thing left is doing some of the filleting. Let's go to fillet. This is the last detail or last step you want to do anyway. Fillet. And we click this edge. Millimeter. It's actually a pretty small thing, so they probably set this to 0.5. Yeah, so it's a really small bezel there. Repeat fillet here. I will set this to 2. Let's see. Let's go to a top view. And I would like to point something out. Let me make this 4. Hopefully we can see this. You notice that the thickness changes, particularly here where my mouse is. This is wider, this is not as wide, because the radius is constant, but not the distance between the filleting lines. So in this case, we want to set this to chord length. If we want to have a nice, even surrounding. Whoa, this is huge. Let's set this to 2, 1.5. Okay, 2. Yeah, so you see the distance is equal. And we can do the same also then. Hold the command key and select the lower part there. Click OK. Very good. That's a nice soft fillet and has an equal distance. Then we can do all the filleting for the buttons. I will do this actually at the end, simply because this will take some processing time and can always slow elements down. So that will be later here. And before I continue, just to make the rest of my work run faster, I will go in front of the past fillet command, because we now have to do the detail for cutting the space open to create the cut sections. So another sketch. I'm repeating exactly the same steps as before. I'm creating the sketch simply at the center line, because then we pull out left and right. I could also have put this in front of somewhere if I wanted to. And then I project this and this and this in. I will also, will I project? No, I will not project this in. Click OK. Then I will hide my body here. Press O. I know this one, 1.5 millimeters, is roughly what we set. Oh, 1.5, and the other direction. And do this one more time too. This area 1.5, and I will tell you in a second why I do all this stuff. Then I delete this and this. You see now this arc is actually free, and if I add the dimension, no, it doesn't do that. Oh, sneaky. Okay. What I wanted to, yeah, this is not really an arc. It looks like an arc. The reason why I drew this one is if I now create myself an arc. Let's see, maybe this I do a construction line. I try to draw an arc over this. Press escape. Come on. I know this is not ideal for having two lines there. Ah, it's a radius of 4. Okay, good. So I just press D, only this arc can get that radius. So I know actually the radius of that arc I need, perfect. Which means now this and this I vertically align. Oh, this is projected down too, so this is fine. Very good. S arc here, click and click, make both tangent, and then we set these are 4, so they have kind of like the feeling of being parallel. Yeah. Then from here I draw a line over, and I draw from the back a line over. I do not project in these object lines because that's prone for problems and bad practice. So I rather create clean lines by hand. Then I put in the missing arc there and there. Bring this to here. There. What about I make those also 4 and 4? Okay. And then I can play with the height a little bit, but I get a really nice S flow. So if I bring this one up, maybe till there, very good. Just keep it there. Yeah. I also try not to get too close or go over it for the splitting, because here I'm dealing with very complicated surfaces. Here I will deal only with simplified surfaces, because then there I would have 2 surfaces to offset, including the separation line there. These lines are there, that's all good. Very nice. Now we need to create an offset for this sketch. So offset the whole shebang 1 millimeter as we did before. But there is a problem. And that's actually because this line is offset already, so I can't offset this again. And that's why I will delete this. Now this is actually they're parallel. That's fine. We add this dimension, and then I will add this point and this point. Now I can offset this whole thing. You cannot offset an already offset edge. You can only offset from a non-offset edge. So now the software will not complain if I click OK, because it was grayed out. All good. Let's cap this. Cap this. Then I know somewhere I have to add these lines. In this case here I will show my mesh body again. So it is roughly there. This is a millimeter. And then we will do the same here. Going nicely up and down straight, so all these lines are horizontally, vertically aligned. Copy this dimension. Stop sketch. Oop, no, not stop sketch. Let's call this also trim. Split body or parting line. What we have to do, what I forgot, is we have to clean this up. So sketch, trim this out, trim this out. Okay. And I think this, you see, changes, which is not good. So we will select this line, press D, add the dimension, copy this value over. So when we change this, all the stuff updates. Because of the constraints, how all the lines are in relationship, when this value is updated, essentially this whole lower offset will grow and shrink accordingly. Now here again we go with split face, because we need to create somewhat this section of faces we can extrude, and then here, very nice, good. And then we go press and pull this part. No, not this edge, please don't crash. Fusion, do we have to wait? Do I have to press pause for the recording? It's only a matter of time. Okay, I don't know how long this will take, so I will go and pause this for a moment. Okay, we're back. So again, this filling, and this filling minus 0.5 millimeters. There, we're good. Again, now this is not the best and correct way to create parting lines, but for a render model and 3D printing, that's a very easy hack how to do this, because again, this is still just a concept model. And we could go edit the sketch, or here we say show dimension, and then there we say 0.2 millimeters, and the rest will be updated for us. Oh, and Lulabelle woke up, so I will pause again Then we can do actually the end of the buttons. Okay, so where were we? Buttons. Before we do buttons, let's do this. Can make another sketch here, and this time we will do it a little bit more detailed. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I set 7. Let's see if we can do this with 6. We just move these elements here, there, there, and there, and there. Yeah, this might actually do it. Okay, good. Stop sketch. And then we can go to the patch command. As we know, we do an extrusion to there, both sides, and then we do a thicken. That's fine. Very good. Let's see how this actually fits into our body. This is too low, so now we can select the whole sketch and drag it up. Maybe drag this to there a little bit. Tick lower. Yeah, well, that's good. Oh yeah, when you have a baby, your music taste changes. So that's done. The last task to do: filleting everything. Zip. This went pretty fast. Then model, fillet. So what's the best way to do this? Maybe go to this view and or here. Yeah, can actually see our problem is we can't drag through everything easily. We have to select all those by hand, which we can. It's a little bit annoying, but this way we put that filleting command really to the end of our design. There, 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 and there, 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 there. Also there. Dum dum dum. There, there. So when this face selection stuff and edge selection becomes a little bit annoying, we can go to select and say don't select faces, only edges. Then you can select all this stuff. There, very good. The dial actually I keep alone for the moment. I will just only work on the buttons here right now. Nearly done, last one. Okay. Drag this in a little bit. And 2 millimeters, no, maybe 3 millimeters. Yeah, 3 is fine. Okay, enter. And then we go back to fillet. And the main reason is simply here I can separate the filleting of the smaller buttons from the bigger dial if we want to give those different radii. If we select them all at the same time, we only can give them the same value. Okay, there. Now in the next case we just want to select the faces. So actually not faces, the top profiles. There. There, 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 and there. 0.2, small rounding only. Come on, you can do it. Okay. And there's one issue. I overlooked one edge. And I notice here this one I forgot. So we will fix this. First, that's fine. Here, there, we need to add an additional edge. So right click, edit feature. And rotate my view. I'm holding the Apple key, control on the PC, select this edge. Lilibelle is taking my trash can out of my room. Awesome. Then I can pick everything back together. And come on. Okay. And so this here we forgot. We can group this together. All these buttons should have the same edge definition. So also there, right click, edit feature, and then hold Apple or control. And you see actually how slow this command gets the more features, or sorry, edges we add, which is why this type of surface detailing you really want to do only at the end of your design. So you do not slow down your modeling process. And there, ladies and gentlemen, we have created a pretty solid surface quality representation of a Roku remote control. Yep, I approve of this. Time to feed my baby.